Shalom. I would like to introduce you to our Sofer, Rabbi Yochanan Salazar from Sofer on site in Florida, who's come here for a few days to do some work on our Torahs. This here is a very special Torah that was brought over from B'nai Emet when they came and joined our congregation. And I'd like you to meet Rabbi Salazar. Maybe he can tell you a few things about this special Torah that he's working on restoring at the moment.
Thank you, and shalom. Like the Cantor mentioned, I'm working on this particular Torah, who happens to be one of the Czech scrolls, like the last few Czech scrolls. And we call them the Czech scrolls or the Holocaust scrolls because these were written back in the Czech Republic somewhere 200 and 250 years ago. And they have a particular Masorah, a particular tradition that is no longer stand. As a matter of fact, these are the last of their kind because most of the tradition, or the people that knew their tradition, the Sofrim, the scribes that knew this tradition, the last of them passed away during the Shoah. And our generations weren't able to receive that tradition, and therefore we don't know necessarily how to reproduce it or the intention, the kavanah, how to do it, which is a very important and crucial thing in the art of Sofru, describing. Some of the interesting things about these Torahs that is not written in the regular layout or setup as the rest of the Torahs. Most of the Torahs are written in a 42-line, 248-column setup. This one, as a matter of fact, has anywhere between 62 to 68 lines and probably about 232 columns. And aside from that, you find that the text does not follow what we call the tikkun nowadays, a regular tikkun. So it's interesting to note that some of the columns are also much wider than what you find in other scrolls. You do find some interesting lettering, and the lettering that is based on the ancient tradition that dates back to the school of the Maharal of Prague, Rabbi Lowy, who actually lived about 500 years ago, and he was the chief rabbi of Prague and one of the leading Torah scholars of his time, and also to many known to be the last practicing Kabbalist. And some of these teachings are poured down into what we see today as these type of scrolls. And I'm trying to find some of the letters that are somewhat different than what you normally see in some regular Torahs, and perhaps point them out quickly, like this Shin, for instance, which is nowadays, if you were to find a letter Shin in any Torah that looks like that, most authorities would render it pasul, which means not kosher. The reason why we actually are able to use this kind of Torahs nowadays is because it was a valid tradition at a certain point in time, and since it's the Fanenu in front of us nowadays, we're able to take advantage of that. And of course, I mean, very special in many senses, but the main thing I think for us is the fact that we are the last ones to actually hold these treasures in our hands and to be able to preserve it and to pass it to the next generation. So that's the work that I'm doing nowadays.
Thank you so much, Rabbi Salazar. Such a pleasure to have you with us. And he does such beautiful work on our Torahs, has restored several of our Torahs already. And when this one is done and another one similar to it, we will be able to use it here at Adath. And we look forward to that very much. So thank you, and now have a wonderful Shabbat. It was good to be able to share this with you. Shabbat Shalom.